And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a very simple and delicious pork recipe for you. This is sort of a Mexican style carnitas. Now, this is one of those recipes where there are a million different variations depending on where the recipe comes from and depending on who's preparing it. It is really a simple one that we're doing today, and here's our ingredients. We're starting with some pork shoulder and some rendered pork lard called Manteca. We're going to use the juice and skin of an orange, an onion, some garlic, and some bay leaves. So first things first, we are going to prepare our pork. And we're just going to cut this. This is, again, a pork shoulder. We're just going to cut this into slightly smaller pieces. And we're going to leave as much of the fat on as we can because it'll help keep everything juicy and we'll add flavor in the end. So we are going to be cooking this in what is called manteca, which is a rendered pork fat. It's a kind of lard. And if you can't get the real deal, you can make do with just grocery store lard that comes in a block on the grocery store shelves. If you can get the real deal, it is a nicer flavor. It's going to turn out a little bit better, but you can definitely make do. So we're just going to cut this into smaller pieces, again, leaving as much of the fat on as we can. And then we're going to add this to our hot oil. Now, the oil is at a very high temperature to start. So you can see here it's going to bubble up quite a bit when we put our pork in. And then as soon as we've got it all in there, we're going to lower the temperature quite a lot right away. And we have it on our induction burner. So what that means is the temperature is going to change quite quickly, which is really useful for this because we want to get that little sear on the outside almost without deep frying them. Because what we're trying to do here is really sort of confit them. But you get that nice dark crust on the outside. It's got a lot of flavor to it. So we do want that initial heat to be quite high. And then once it's all in there, we're going to lower the temperature quite a lot. And there we go. And you can see the temperature dropping. The bubbling slows down quite quickly. And then we're going to cover that just to sort of keep a lid on the spatter because there is quite a bit from this. And then while that's going, we are going to move on to our other ingredients. So this orange, we're going to take the skin off. We don't want to zest it because we want to be able to pull the pieces of skin out at the end. So we're not going to make them really tiny little pieces like with a zester. Also, this is an orange that ripens to green, so it may look unripe here, but it actually is. It was perfectly ripe and delicious. We're also going to break up the bay leaves just a little bit. Again, we don't want tiny pieces, but some smaller pieces so that it spreads through the whole dish. And we're just going to put everything in a bowl together along with the orange juice because it's all going to be added in together at the same time once the pork has had a chance to cook for a little while. So we're going to juice that orange into the same bowl here. And don't worry, if your other ingredients get orange juice on them, they're all going to go into the pot at the same time. Last thing to prepare is our onion, so we're just going to slice that into pretty thick, chunky slices. And we're not going to break it down any further than that. We're just going to toss it in like this. It will come apart as it cooks. In the meantime, those aromatics are going to add a lot of flavor into the fat, and it's going to spread through the pork as well. Now, do be a little bit cautious when you're adding the juice. Of course, you're adding liquid to hot oil. This is another reason you want to make sure that the temperature is good and low, because if it's still at frying temperature, if it's still a really high temperature, that is going to cause a lot of spatter and possibly be dangerous. So you want to make sure you're at a confit temperature, not at a deep fry temperature when you add that orange juice. So give everything a little mix in there, make sure it's all well combined, and then cover it again. And then after a little while, it starts to look like this. You can see the onions have cooked really nicely, and that pork, beautiful and tender. You can see how nice and tender that pork is. It's got that nice crust on the outside. It has been infused with all of that flavor from the bay leaves and the orange skin and the orange juice. The garlic and the onions have all added their flavor, and it's ready to go. So we're going to take this out of the pot into just a strainer here. And the nice thing about the manteca is once you've cooked carnitas in this, you can do it again. So we're going to maintain that oil. We're going to strain it and keep it, and this will add flavor to future iterations of our carnitas. And this is what the final result looks like. So you can see that beautiful crusty outside. It's still got some of those little caramelized bits of orange peel in there, which were actually delicious. We tried it. And then just to give it a taste, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on there and break it apart. You can see how easy that breaks apart with a fork. Nice little bit of fat on there as well. So we're just going to break that up. We have some of our onion pickles and a little bit of cilantro. And that is a perfect little bite. So that is really, really delicious. You can see all that beautiful shredded pork in there. This makes awesome pulled pork. Fantastic, delicious little bite. And that's it. It's really, really simple. This goes really well in tacos, so you can just pull together some of those corn tortillas that we made a few weeks ago and fill it with this. It's absolutely delicious, super, super simple. It goes in a lot of different dishes, and we hope you'll give it a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.